Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Real Hospitality Live. I have my guest, Robert Coull, Johnny Lima from Canada Experts Cleaners with me today. What a crazy time, guys. I mean, you guys are responsible for CN Tower, major chains, keeping these places clean and safe on a good day. What's going on in your world right now?
Well, it started last week, probably with the CN Tower being the first to give us notice that they would be shutting down their hospitality, of course, with the restaurants that they have in there, the venues, but they're also probably the largest tourist attraction in all of Canada. So with that being said, they were probably the first ones to make a decision. So they closed their operations, but then they still have us doing some deep cleaning and disinfecting needs behind the scenes,
Right.
While their main core staff that are staying on board are still in the building.
Well, that was what I was wondering too. I mean, this is a great opportunity for organizations, even if they slow down or line just a delivery, to get into deep clean mode, right?
Yeah. So we're getting a lot of those calls. Other places are, of course, just shutting down. So after CN Tower, it just started to kind of roll in, and then yesterday and the day before, we pretty much got notice of pause, I guess, to the service from about 60 different contracts that we hold. Yeah. So all in all, we had to lay off about 109 cleaners in the past 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very heavy.
And Robert, I mean, we've been doing this for 4 decades. We've been through. We're getting a feedback on your end, guys.
Oh yeah. From yourself or when we're talking?
From when I'm talking or when they're. Do you guys have an extra speaker on or computer open?
No.
Just on
my computer. Maybe my computer.
Okay.
Is yours still on? We're just checking that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Life happens to the living, I say.
Does it lessen if I turn the volume down now?
It's good now.
Good now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, Robert, I was saying, I mean, you've been doing this for 4 decades. We've been through everything from SARS to the bird flu to everything. I mean, how is this comparable? And I mean, you were in Toronto, of course, during SARS. What did you guys do then, and what are you doing differently now or the same now?
So honestly, with SARS, I mean, there was a vigilance for disinfecting for sure, but it really didn't affect operations. Things kind of really went as normal. Everybody was just hyper vigilant. But with this particular thing that happened, when we got the call from the CN Tower, I just knew at that point, and then Surcorp, one of our larger accounts, called us as well and said, "Hey, listen, we've got to kind of follow the mandate of the premier." And then I think I mentioned to you when we got together last that we just started the KEG Embassy Suites in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Them being a very heavy tourist area, they had to shut down. I think that obviously we're saddened by this. A lot of workers that are really displaced now, even ourselves. Pretty much 95% of our operation is hospitality focused.
Right.
So it's definitely been crazy. But that being said, tomorrow morning we're going to the Cactus Club at Sherway Gardens, and they have hired us to come in and disinfect everything.
Right.
So there are some operations that are out there that are really they're being very concerned, and they're hiring us to do disinfecting. We've been doing a cleanup for Recipe, the Rose Reisman Catering facility. They took that over. Huge job. Like when I say huge, we had 8 staff there for 4 days.
Yeah.
And including vacuuming the tops of the ceiling.
The drop ceiling. Popping up and vacuuming the entire top of the drop ceiling.
Yeah, so there are a lot of organizations. I was downtown today with the Duke Pubs, and they said, "Hey, listen, can we do some deep cleaning in preparation?" So I'm really saying that a lot of the people in the community, obviously, they're hurt by it. They've had to lay people off, but they've found ways When I went in today, the chef was pulled the ovens out and they were cleaning in behind, and they were asking me for some advice, and so I advised them on some products and some different techniques to kind of help them through the process. So it's been definitely very, very different. But I think what I like is that Ontario, Toronto, Canada, in fact, has taken this very seriously, and I'm glad that they have, because it's unfortunate in some of the other countries around the world how quickly it spread and how devastating it's been. And I think because we're really taking the heavy steps, not necessarily the most popular steps, but the most prudent steps, I think that's going to save us and perhaps see us come back a little bit quicker. We're hoping that it's a 2 to 4 week, most likely a 4-week period, that restaurants will be closed and get vigilant. And then once the health people of Canada say, hey, listen, we've got this under control, hopefully begin to release it a little bit and get us kind of back to a more normal state. But definitely in 40 years, I've never seen anything like this. It's pretty, even driving into Toronto today, I drove in at 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
I was downtown Toronto at 9:35.
Yeah.
Incredible. This never happens. Never ever happens. So it's definitely different, but I think owners, corporations are taking this very seriously. They're being hyper vigilant. Cactus Club, for instance, very widely known. You know it very well out west.
Yeah, I know.
They hired us to come in and disinfect everything. So they're very, they're being very proactive. Definitely.
I think that's the positive message too. Is operators are taking the opportunity to keep clean, repair, even if they don't have other people in the house, just to get on top of the things that we don't always have time to do when we're busy. And of course, right now, everything is clean and disinfect and all of those things. And you guys are, for the most part, you guys don't even use chemicals for a lot of it, right? You guys have a heavy steam machine, which of course I saw at the Restaurants Canada show, which is amazing.
Yeah. So we've been working with a gentleman out of Niagara Falls to manufacture a lot of the chemicals that we employ for various tasks, such as ceiling tile cleaning, degreasers, what have you. But with regards to steam, we've been Canadian Expert Cleaning specifically has been invested in steam since 2014.
Yeah.
We've been doing steam cleaning, so this is nothing new to us. I'd love to know statistics out there, but I would be willing to bet we got to be in the top companies as far as the amount of steam cleaning that we do and the amount of units. We've got 25 plus steam cleaning units that range from $500 up to one we just purchased, $26,000. It's probably one of the top grade machines in the world from Italy.
The unit that I saw you guys had is the size of a vehicle. You could ride
That's
it
correct. You saw it. Yeah. And it'll take the paint off the vehicle too.
I saw.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to stick my hand out there just to see. For restaurants who are in areas that are staying open, I think this is key too, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you guys on. Other than I just love to chat with you guys anytime. Is if you're still doing delivery, or you're still doing food prep, or you're using your location to help out charities and all of this. This is an opportunity to bring guys like you to come in and do that disinfectant, deep cleaning, and also to show confidence to your guests, whether they're getting delivery or whatever you're using the facility still for, right? Because people the gravity's starting to hit. Like you said, Robert, you drove to Toronto today. I walked through downtown Calgary last night, and it was as if I was walking through 3:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
I think I saw 8 people, and it was at 8 o'clock at night.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. Wow.
Well, I think like with regards to what you said about these companies or restaurants staying open for delivery and takeout and stuff. We're not gonna get into specifics about who's doing what. We've already told you that we work with some of the top companies and champions of being on the front lines of disinfecting, and that's their story to tell. though we supply them with the narrative, I guess, of the statistics and research into the products and methods that we use to disinfect, such as steam and also stabilized aqueous ozone, which we can get into in a bit. But as far as cleaning is concerned, like I said, we were laid off by 60 of our clients, which I get it if you're closed, you know, that's fine. You're not serving anything. But I do got to say that I'm a little disappointed in some of the restaurants that are out there that are staying open, but have decided to cut our services.
Right.
Albeit, you know, they're just back of house. But you know, we're in a financial crisis, but or pending financial crisis. But let's be realistic. This is first and foremost, it's a health crisis.
Yeah.
And to cut cleaning services during a health crisis, not the best idea. You know, so again, that's their story to tell, or you know, weave however they want. But there are people out there that have cut cleaning services while remaining open, and I get that it's a financial decision, but that just tells you that they're putting finances before health.
I feel people aren't getting the gravity of the situation yet either. I mean, it's a health pandemic. That's not something that gets thrown around. It's not flu season.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
time will tell. I'd love to see some of these kitchens after a week, and I probably will go and visit some. But you know, we're used to being the first to be blamed and the last to be thanked. That is not the new, you know.
That's always the way with service providers to the industry.
Always.
I have that same conversation with distributors of food product and the whole thing. They'll never be the first one to call.
Yeah,
they'll never be the one that gets a phone call that says, "Thank you. Hey, we've just had a great quarter."
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
So we're used to that, but now instead of, you know, being first to be blamed, we're actually first responders, and that's coming to the light.
Yeah.
That's something that we built our company based on, instilling that in our cleaners. It can be, you know, demoralizing, whatever you want to call it. You're by yourself scrubbing toilets at 4 a.m. I know because I've been there. You know, started this company by doing, you know, contracts myself and growing it from there. I know what it's like, but from day one, I changed my mindset, and I have instilled that into all of our cleaners to empower them to realize that, you know what, we're not just cleaners. Yes, we clean, but that's actually tertiary to our primary and secondary goals. And people say, well, what do you mean? You know, you gotta make the place look clean and smell nice and this.
Right.
And I say, you know what, our first and foremost priority is we are the front line of health and safety.
Yeah.
Straight up, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, so we're used to hearing the term first responders with regards to you know, medical emergencies and stuff. We're first responders with regards to germs. You know, make no bones about it. That's the 100% truth. And once I, you know, instill that in people, they kind of shift how they look at it. And I say, look, you know, if someone working in an office, whatever it is, corporate world, and they're pushing paper, they're doing data entry, they may be fired. That entire job may be cut out of the whole business model. What happens? Life goes on. You know what happens if our job gets cut out of the business model? People die. People die, you know, straight up. It's not a joke. And, you know, our cleaners understand that. And secondary to being the front line of health and defense, we are in asset protection. We're cleaning multi-million-dollar facilities. We protect those from wear and tear. And third, we make the place look clean and smell nice.
When you guys are going in and doing like a deep cleaning, or right now, if you're being called in to say, hey, we need you to come in and sanitize the whole thing. I know you talked about vacuuming and whatnot, but even if it's not you guys, but maybe people who aren't clients of yours who are managers and operators, but where should they start? What should they look for? What kind of advice might you be able to give to them in this time that we're in?
Yeah, well, you know, the EPA has been kind of the leader in stating and dictating what they believe can be useful. So I think it's important to note cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting. Disinfecting is the top. Disinfecting is a kill rate of 100%.
Right.
So these disinfectants, Lysol kills 99.9999999. That's actually not disinfecting, according to the true definition of the term. Now, something may be a disinfectant for this particular microbe or virus or whatever it is. Whatever it claims to kill, it needs to kill 100% of that.
Right.
No one has done testing on SARS coronavirus 2, which is what we're facing right now. So essentially, nobody can make the claim, and we've been very careful and open with our clients. But what we base our information on is the fact that we know SARS coronavirus 2 is basically the second version, second coming, 2.0, if you will, of SARS virus, which we already came across. So SARS, the original, was actually SARS coronavirus. That's the name of what it was.
A family of viruses.
Exactly. And coronavirus as a family is basically an enveloped virus. So there's two types of viruses, enveloped and then a naked virus, which doesn't have a coating around it. And that's when you get airborne viruses, which are obviously a lot worse. So knock on wood, this is it's an enveloped virus, actually very easy to kill. Under the title of enveloped viruses, there's actually a couple of different ones referring to the coatings that they have. So something with a protein coating, pretty tough harder to kill, to break that shell, because the coating surrounds the RNA, the DNA of the virus, and it can't live outside of that coating. So when you break that coating, it's exposed to the air, it dies automatically. That is what's happening when you're disinfecting an enveloped virus. With the coronavirus, it's an enveloped virus made of lipid. It's a lipid coating, fats, basically, if you will. They break apart very easily. There's been dozens and dozens of research done on numerous enveloped lipid viruses, and especially with regards to SARS. So the main things that are being recommended by the EPA are based on products that were proven to work with SARS coronavirus 1, if you will.
Right.
So the coronavirus 2, beating that is based on those results, basically.
Makes perfect sense. Now, Robert, if you specifically were going into give a consulting on a place, where would you say, hey, you know what, this is some places that always get missed. These are some spots that always get missed, and if anything, make damn sure that these things get looked at. What's your experience on that?
I think the most important thing in this is that you can't just do it one time. I noticed we actually had gone out to a Swiss chalet just before it closed. And even while we were there, they were wiping the doors, all the touch points. I mean, everywhere where you imagine anybody can touch. I actually went downtown today to a hotel, and they actually didn't let me in. I needed to use the facility, and they said, sorry, but we have decided to close the facility. For the guests, they use their own room. So it's just a matter of really being completely diligent, but not just doing it once. You can't just do it once. You have to do it continuously. Yeah. So anywhere where people are touching is very, very important. I think I totally agree with Johnny in that, we are professionals at what we do. And we, as you know, Chef, we love to use steam and we love to use some of the specialty products. I think that as these places stay open, they should be really cognizant of the fact that it's better to let professionals clean. When they finish it, they should be wiping all day long and sanitizing all day long, and then at the end of that shift, that night, they should let us come in and do our thing and clean it right back to where it should be. Yeah. So this is what Johnny kind of was referring to there. But it's about everybody being diligent, wearing gloves, not touching your hands, even wearing masks, even though I know the mask is not said to be that important, but you know what, let's go the next mile. I know that some of the food delivery systems are really being hyper vigilant, even to the point of not accepting cash, and then sanitizing their bags and things like that. So it's really about if you think it's clean it again, and just keep on doing it. And anywhere where your hand touches, and then as much as possible, like in this case, don't try to stay too close. But that part, is whatever. But it's just being hyper vigilant and understanding you can't just do it once. Like even as we go in to Cactus Club or any of these facilities, we can do it once, but then you got to do it again.
Yeah, and we empower our clients with the devices or chemicals or whatever it is for any given situation, even prior to this outbreak, because we help them understand that it is, during the day we're often only there for a very small window, and of course if we're the only ones cleaning, yes, it's reset, and yes, it's clean at one point in the night, but if you're not doing it during the day, then it's kind of just like quitting smoking at night. Not really doing too much,
Exactly right.
Great analogy for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's being vigilant all day long, all the time, and everybody having a heightened sense, everybody washing their hands way more. I went to a Shoppers Drug Mart the other day just to purchase a couple of things, and I got to say that people here in Toronto, I'm from Burlington, are very aware. They're keeping distance, and the cashier was on every transaction was using hand sanitizer or they were using gloves.
Yeah.
So you know what? People are getting the message, and it's good and it's important because we want to stop this thing before it gets way out of hand. But for restaurants, I think they really got to understand that, hey, stay open for deliveries. That's a great thing to do, but understand that through the day you got to do some cleaning, and then at nighttime when you close down, let's let some professionals come in and actually really clean the place the way we always have, and then give it back to you, reset, and then through the day you can monitor it a lot better. So I think that's important.
Well, that type of vigilance is really the only way we're going to get through this, and it's not going to be a short-term thing. This is not a hey, we're over this in 4 days. So where I think people have it in their head, oh well, we'll just sit tight for 2 weeks and then the government's going to come on and say, hey, we're turning everything back on in 2 weeks, and that's just not.
I don't think it's going to go that way.
But it is good to see what Robert was saying, because I've witnessed it too. People are taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Haven't witnessed anyone who's not. My wife's from Italy, and we all know what they're going through right now. People are still not heeding the advice of the government. Running out in the streets. Police are actively just trying to force people to go home, and they're out in the streets partying, and they went from 200 to 8,000 cases in a matter of
it happened fast,
48 hours.
Yeah.
Like it
very
was
very quick, very quick.
Yeah. So
it's not like you can get on the plane and fly somewhere where it isn't right now either.
This is what I was saying. Yeah.
We wanted to go to Cuba. We really wanted to just head down to Veradero.
Right.
And I hear it's not there, so we're still thinking about taking a private jet.
Oh, there's three cases
Is
now.
there? Yeah?
It's 3 Italians.
Send them back.
Yeah. I just talked to my friend there. I worked in Cuba for 4 years, so.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I think what we're also seeing too is starting to slow down in China. But if we look at it's been 4 months since
that's right.
it started, and now it's starting to slow down there. Well, this is the beginning of that 4 months.
Yeah, that's very true. They definitely have flattened the curve. It's also a communist country, and you can tell people to stay home.
Right. But what they've done is that you see, I mean, they literally went right to put everybody home, and then they sanitized the whole damn country.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, hopefully that's not something that we're going to end up having to do. But for teaching purposes, this is exactly what we're trying to say here, right? Is stay home, and if you are open, then sanitize, and get experts to come in and help you do it. And if you have experts to help you do it, make sure you keep them on.
Absolutely. That's right, Chef. Yeah.
If loss of business for 2 to 4 weeks saves loss of lives for millions of people, then that trumps it.
And it's not even a conversation. It's just what we need to do.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
Are we getting?
There's some questions. No.
Yeah.
Sorry. I see some questions. Would you like me to respond to?
Yeah, absolutely, Johnny. If you see them up there.
Yeah. Sorry. So employees, we have about 115. And like I said, 109 of them are laid off. It's important to know we also have a deep cleaning portion that is currently run under Canadian Expert Cleaning, but we're in the process of spinning that off just for branding purposes. And again, this is all prior to this coronavirus outbreak, but now more so than ever, we need to be specifically geared towards that with our deep cleaning services, because that's the number one call that's coming through is disinfecting, you know. So within that organization, there's about 18 cleaners that are basically on call right now on the front lines, and we're showing up fully geared up, suited up, you know, full protection, and using the latest in technologies what we have with the steam and the SAO, which is another thing we're employing.
There's the questions aren't coming up on my end very often. So if you guys are seeing more stuff, as you guys can, anybody who's watching on here today, we are on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn Live. If you have questions and you need to get a hold of these gentlemen, then contact them at the information on the ticker below. The phone number was up there as well. You can reach out to these guys on LinkedIn also. These are the people you need to talk to help you get your organization and your operation sanitized and clean, so that you're not continuing to spread this virus, and also so that your customers will also be confident in the fact that you are taking these steps as well, especially if you're continuing to serve food.
And just throw it out there, even if it's even if it's free advice. I don't care if you live on the other side of the country or another country.
Absolutely, give us a call.
Give us a call. You know, when you put the name expert in the name of your company, it only goes to you know, towards people leaning on you for expert advice, right?
Absolutely,
and we take that very seriously.
For sure.
Well, guys, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day. I know that you have accounts that you're dealing with, and customers, and your clients, as well as your staff who have all kinds of questions for you. I'm sure that you guys are keeping busy on that end. I really wanted to bring you on so that, because we're a community here, and like Johnny said, you know, no matter where you are, if you've got questions, contact. If you have questions, there's something to add, then do that. We're a global community of hospitality, and that's really what we're about. That's why we have this show, and it's about bringing people together for education, inspiration, information, all of these things. So thanks so much, guys. It's always good to see you, my good friends. I had a great time.
Thank you very much.
Thankfully, we dodged that bullet by a couple days, and the contact information is there. Again, anybody who wants to get a hold of Johnny and Robert from Canadian Expert Cleaners, feel free to make a comment also on the video on LinkedIn. I will stay up there. There's people on live now, but it'll continue to loop for several days. Come back in. The boys will be able to come back in and answer your questions as well. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Thanks
really
a lot.
Listen,
have a great afternoon. Take care, and hope to talk to you soon.
Be safe.
You as well, gentlemen.
All the best. Thanks so much.
Okay.